Sharon Osbourne has long been recognized as one of the most formidable figures in the world of music management and entertainment. Known not only for her sharp intellect and unwavering loyalty, but also for her resolute strength, Sharon has stood by her husband Ozzy Osbourne through decades marked by immense triumphs and turbulent challenges. Their story is more than just a tale of rock royalty. It is a narrative woven with love, conflict, resilience, and controversy. The recent death of Ozzy Osbourne, the iconic Prince of Darkness and frontman of Black Sabbath, sent shockwaves through the music industry and among his legion of fans worldwide. Yet beyond the public mourning and tributes, a shadow of suspicion began to emerge. Authorities initiated a confidential investigation focusing on the circumstances of Ozzy's passing. And shockingly, Sharon Osbourne, his devoted wife and longtime manager, found herself at the center of an intense inquiry. Why was Sharon, once regarded as the steadfast protector of Ozzy, now facing questions that cast doubt on her motives and decisions in his final months? This expanded examination aims to delve deep into the background of their relationship, the medical and financial controversies that arose, and the complex dynamics that led to Sharon becoming a suspect in the investigation. Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne, a partnership forged in fire. Early years. From manager to lifelong partner. Sharon. Osbourne's connection to Ozzy. Osbourne began long before they became the legendary couple the world came to know. As a young woman working for her father's company, a management firm responsible for the affairs of Black Sabbath, Sharon first encountered Ozzy during the late 1970s and early 1980s. At that time, Ozzy was navigating the aftermath of his departure from Black Sabbath and trying to establish a solo career while battling personal demons of addiction and instability. What started as a professional relationship quickly evolved into a personal one. Sharon, with her tenacious spirit and business savvy, gradually took on the role of Ozzy's manager. She was not only overseeing his career moves but also becoming an indispensable pillar in his chaotic life. They married in 1982, sealing a partnership that combined both love and business inextricably. This union was far from conventional. Sharon was fiercely protective and deeply involved in every aspect of Ozzy's life, from orchestrating his musical comebacks to shielding him from the pitfalls of fame and addiction. Over the years, she transformed from manager to wife, mother, and caregiver, roles that required not only strength but immense patience and resilience. The trials. Addiction, health struggles, and personal battles. Ozzy Osbourne's career, though meteoric, was marred by continual struggles with substance abuse, particularly during the 1980s and 1990s. The Prince of Darkness persona masked a vulnerable man grappling with addiction and declining health. Through all of this, Sharon remained a constant. She supported his rehabilitation efforts and was often seen as the glue holding the family and career together. Yet their relationship was complicated. Friends and insiders often spoke of Sharon's controlling nature, sometimes essential for managing Ozzy's unpredictable behavior, but at other times creating friction. She exercised tight control over his finances and health decisions, arguably to protect him but occasionally sparking tension, especially when Ozzy wanted to assert his independence. As Ozzy aged, new challenges arose. His diagnosis with Parkinson's disease, a progressive neurological disorder, brought a new dimension to their struggles. The disease steadily impaired his motor skills and cognitive functions, making Ozzy increasingly dependent on Sharon for daily care. This shift altered their dynamic profoundly. The strong, rebellious rock star now faced severe physical limitations, while Sharon's role evolved into that of a full-time caregiver and medical decision-maker. Medical decisions and rising tensions. The final months. The Parkinson's battle and caregiving strain. Parkinson's disease is a relentless condition, and for Ozzy, it meant a gradual loss of mobility, tremors, and fatigue that eroded his quality of life. Sharon, ever the protector, took on the immense responsibility of managing his care. However, the emotional and physical toll on her was immense. Friends close to the couple have revealed that Sharon sometimes appeared exhausted, overwhelmed by the dual demands of managing a public figure's legacy and the private realities of caregiving. tensions reportedly surfaced over Ozzy's desire to continue treatment. Despite his deteriorating condition, Ozzy was said to have fought for ongoing medical interventions, hoping to maintain his health and prolong his life. Sharon, however, grew increasingly impatient and reportedly made the controversial decision to stop his treatments without consulting his medical team fully. This choice sparked immediate alarm among doctors and family. Some physicians claimed that although Ozzy's health was fragile, there was still potential to manage symptoms and possibly improve his quality of life through continued medication and therapies. The sudden cessation of treatment, driven by Sharon's insistence, was viewed by many as a drastic move that may have hastened his decline. Emotional exhaustion or malice. Interpretations of Sharon's role. Sharon defended her decision by stating it was rooted in love, wanting to spare Ozzy further pain and suffering. From her perspective, allowing him to pass peacefully was an act of compassion. However, others speculated that her actions might have stemmed from emotional exhaustion. Caregiving is notoriously draining, and when combined with the pressure of managing Ozzy's career and finances, it is plausible that Sharon reached a breaking point. Close family friends suggested that Ozzy's dependence on Sharon had become burdensome for both parties. Ozzy, once fiercely independent, now had limited agency over his own health, and Sharon, under immense pressure, sometimes lost patience. These stresses may have blurred the lines between protective caregiving and excessive control, leading to decisions that, while intended to protect, also raised questions about respect for Ozzy's autonomy. Financial affairs and the controversy. Over Ozzy's will. Sharon's role as financial manager and estate control. Sharon's influence extended well beyond health decisions. She was the principal architect managing the Osbourne family's vast financial empire. From Ozzy's lucrative music royalties to brand endorsements and reality TV profits, Sharon oversaw complex financial transactions and estate planning. Following Ozzy's death, attention turned to the legal documents that determined the distribution of his assets. Several lawyers involved in the administration of his estate noted irregularities and significant amendments in Ozzy's will during the final months of his life. Notably, some versions contained changes that appeared inconsistent with earlier drafts and were not clearly corroborated by Ozzy himself. This led to intense scrutiny of Sharon's role. As the sole person with authority over Ozzy's finances, she had the power to influence the estate's direction substantially. Critics questioned whether Sharon had exercised undue influence to modify the will in her favor or for other family interests. The fact that Ozzy's children and other close relatives were excluded from financial decisions fueled suspicions of manipulation, missing memorabilia, and disputed assets. Further complicating matters was the reported disappearance of several valuable items tied to Ozzy's legacy. Priceless memorabilia, vintage instruments, rare recordings, and personal artifacts that symbolize decades of musical history were unaccounted for following his passing. Sharon claimed that all assets were secured and would be fairly distributed, yet the absence of these heirlooms prompted speculation. Some speculated Sharon might have retained these items for sentimental reasons or as protective measures to safeguard the family legacy. Others feared that such disappearances could indicate financial motives, with some items possibly sold or hidden to consolidate control over the estate. The official investigation. Authorities. Weigh the evidence. Launching a comprehensive inquiry. Given the myriad suspicions surrounding Ozzy's death, law enforcement agencies initiated an investigation aimed at clarifying the ambiguous circumstances, particularly Sharon's involvement in his medical care and estate management. The inquiry encompassed detailed interviews with medical professionals who treated Ozzy, as well as with family members and close friends. Investigators sought to determine whether Ozzy voluntarily chose to stop treatment or if Sharon exerted undue influence. Medical records were scrutinized for evidence of appropriate care, while legal teams examined changes in the will and financial transfers. Challenges in establishing consent and capacity. One of the key issues was Ozzy's mental and physical capacity in his final months. Parkinson's disease can impair cognitive function, raising concerns about his ability to make informed, long-term decisions. Doctors testified that while Ozzy was mentally alert at times, his overall condition likely limited his capacity to fully understand or consent to stopping treatment or altering his will. This created a murky legal landscape. If Sharon made critical decisions without Ozzy's explicit, informed consent, her actions could be construed as overreach or even abuse of power. Public and family reactions, divided loyalties and speculation, family dynamics and private disputes. Ozzy and Sharon's children and close relatives found themselves caught in a painful maelstrom of grief and suspicion. Some family members expressed doubts about Sharon's management of Ozzy's care and estate, feeling excluded and mistrustful. Others defended her, emphasizing the decades of loyalty and sacrifice she had shown. This division added a layer of complexity to the investigation, as family testimonies often conflicted, reflecting the complicated emotional terrain they were navigating. Public perception and media frenzy fans and media outlets worldwide closely followed the unfolding story. Ozzy was beloved not only for his music but for his raw, authentic persona that inspired millions. The notion that Sharon, the woman who had been his anchor, might have played a role in his death shocked many. The media speculated endlessly, fueling conspiracy theories ranging from compassionate euthanasia to financial greed. Social media platforms became battlegrounds for supporters and skeptics alike, with each revelation intensifying public debate. Theories and speculations. Beyond the official narrative. Theory 1. Compassionate decision-making amid emotional exhaustion. One widely discussed theory suggests Sharon acted out of deep compassion but also under extreme emotional strain. The years of caregiving and managing Ozzy's complex needs may have left her emotionally depleted, leading to decisions aimed at ending his suffering swiftly. While this theory paints Sharon in a sympathetic light, it acknowledges the difficulty of balancing love and the weight of responsibility, especially when faced with a progressive, debilitating illness. Theory 2. Strained relationship and control dynamics. Another perspective points to growing tension in the Osbourne marriage during Ozzy's final years. Caregiving can alter relationships, creating dependency and sometimes resentment. Observers noted that Ozzy felt constrained by Sharon's control, especially regarding his health and financial autonomy. This strain might explain Sharon's insistence on stopping treatment or managing finances unilaterally, actions driven by frustration or a desire to protect herself as much as Ozzy. Theory 3. Financial motives and estate manipulation. A more cynical theory argues that Sharon's financial control may have motivated her to influence Ozzy's will and estate decisions. The significant wealth involved and her exclusive control over finances raised concerns about self-interest, especially in light of unexplained changes in legal documents. Theory 4. The unseen factors and complex realities. Finally, it is essential to acknowledge that the true circumstances may never be fully known. The combination of health decline, emotional pressures, family dynamics, and financial complexity creates a situation where clear-cut answers are elusive. The investigation, while thorough, may leave some questions unanswered, reflecting the intricate nature of human relationships and end-of-life decisions. A legacy, clouded by mystery and complexity. Ozzy Osbourne's death marked the end of a legendary chapter in music history, but it also opened a complicated and painful inquiry into the roles played by those closest to him. Sharon Osbourne, once hailed as his devoted wife and guardian, now finds herself under a cloud of suspicion, accused by some of overstepping boundaries in medical decisions and financial affairs. The investigation highlights not only legal and ethical questions, but also the profound human challenges faced by families dealing with terminal illness and vast wealth. It forces a reckoning with difficult issues of autonomy, caregiving, love, and power. Ultimately, whether Sharon acted out of love, exhaustion, self-interest, or a mixture of all three remains a matter for legal authorities to determine. For the public, the story serves as a reminder that even the most celebrated lives and relationships contain layers of complexity unseen by the outside world. As authorities continue their inquiry, the legacy of Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne will likely remain a subject of intense fascination, debate, and reflection for years to come.